inspect them in their cells. Otherwise, justice has not been done. That's what we are saying. Fine, let's proceed. I have no problem with that at all.
But you shouldn't.
Yeah, I have no problem with that at all, if that is the statement you are making. Anyway, this morning I've read a lot of the stories about Ken Ofori-Atta and so on. And I'd like to dwell on this particular one, published on page 8 of the Insight. And a portion of it says, his legal team, that is Ken Ofori-Atta's legal team. His legal team, however, clarified that the court's landmark ruling was strictly issued within the boundaries of a United States immigration proceeding. Has nothing to do with the extradition request. The scope of the court's definitive decision remained fundamentally focused on whether Mr. Ofori-Atta met the necessary statutory and legal requirements for an adjustment of status to a permanent resident. That's all. Has nothing to do with the extradition request. You understand? So that's clear, and I've read same from other newspapers and so on. So that's clear. It means that the extradition process still continues. Okay. Now, I agree with Richard that there's too much theater in the attempt to prosecute Mr. Ofori-Atta. I fully agree with you, Richard. There's so much theater, it's unbelievable. This is the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And Article 19.3 states clearly that the trial of a person charged with a criminal offense shall take place in his presence unless A, he refuses to appear before the court for the trial to be conducted in his presence after he has been duly notified of the trial, or B, he conducts himself in such a manner as to render the continuation of the proceedings in his presence impracticable, and the court orders him to be removed for trial to proceed in his absence. It's clear. There is no reason why Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta cannot be prosecuted in his absence. There's no reason whatsoever. So all of this rigmarole, all of this thing about extradition request and so on, for me it's pure theater, just theater. And on this score, I fully agree with Richard. There is no reason why this is continuing. There's no reason why we're all being just disturbed every day and so on. If there is evidence that Mr. Ofori-Atta has committed crimes and so on, he should be put on trial in his absence. And the courts will make a determination of his guilt or innocence. The law states very clearly that no accused person has an obligation to assist the prosecution. That is why if you are arrested by the police, your Miranda rights are read to you, and your Miranda rights simply says that you have a right to remain silent, and so on. So even if you brought Mr. Ofori-Atta here, if you managed to secure his extradition to Ghana, and he decided not to help, not to talk, and so on, it will be within his rights. So what's all this noise and about extradition and so on? It's funny. It's just funny theater. That is what is happening. And I hope that somebody will do their...
You don't agree with this issue about his caution statement must be taken, he must he must respond to the specific charges that have been leveled against him, so that all of that will be taken into fact. He must also state that I don't want to come to court. Go ahead and try me.
No, the Constitution is clear. If
he doesn't want to.
If his conduct suggests that he doesn't want to come, okay, you can proceed. You can proceed. Look,
it doesn't say he must state that he doesn't want to come.
No, Article 19.
Yeah.
Article 19, subsection A says. It says. Let me start from Article 19. The trial of a person charged with a criminal offense shall take place in his presence, unless A, if he refuses to appear before the court for the trial to be conducted in his presence after he has been duly notified of the trial. It's very clear. Very, very clear. I mean, what can be clearer than this?
Right.
You understand? So I'm just,
All right.
But as for the charge of selective justice and so on, I don't know where Richard is coming from.
Okay.
I mean, clearly, I don't know where he's coming from.
Right.
Today, again, and this is not deliberately promoting the Insight.
Right.
But there's an article in the Insight written by John Ofori-Atta.
Okay.
You know John Ofori-Atta?
Yes.
Very credible,
Yes. Yeah.
highly respected Ghanaian journalist who works in London.
Right.
He actually works for the Africa Report.
Okay.
And he's written an opinion piece titled "Free Speech Has Limits."
Okay.
Ghana's law reflects that.
Right.
And it deals with all of these issues.
In other words, free speech is not absolute.
He deals with all of these issues, including selective justice and so on. All of that is dealt with adequately.
I'll take a look at it.
I read it this morning and I was very, very highly impressed by this article written by John Ofori-Atta.
Okay.
Perhaps it may be necessary even to read a portion of it.
Of the piece.
It says, I hope I'm reading the right portion. It says, Ghana's constitution strongly protects freedom of speech and media freedom. Those protections have helped shape the country's democratic reputation and have enabled journalists, opposition politicians, and civil society groups to operate in a relatively open environment for more than 3 decades.
Right.
However, the Constitution also recognizes that rights come with responsibilities. Citizens are free to criticize government, challenge public officials, and express unpopular opinions. What the law does not automatically protect are actions that cross into areas defined as harmful or unlawful, including threats, incitement, and certain forms of knowingly false communication. And so
All right. Okay. So
Yes,
let me bring it. Let me bring in my viewers.
No, you want to
ask a question?
It's not a
because I want to
problem
bring
at
it.
all. It's not a problem.
Okay, so you see, Kwesi, I agree that there cannot be any blank check issued for free speech. But free speech is fundamental to any democracy. And so when you begin to have conversations about free speech and the borders that must be put around it, you are veering into very dangerous areas where democracy itself will be constrained and be undone, because you can find anything insightful, any comment, just like even what the conversation we're having here. You can find a statement insightful if you want to. And the government, with all the powers that we have created, is capable of criminalizing certain speech as insightful, as hateful, as crossing the line, if you create that environment that it is possible to look at it.
Richard, can I ask the question back?
So I'm just asking you.
Can I ask the question back?
Yes. So maybe answer mine.
Can I?
So you, with your experience, do you think that in this time, this point in our democracy, with all that you have in the background, that it is appropriate now to engage that conversation head on, to try to define the borders of free speech?
If I sit on this big platform, Good Morning Ghana platform, and I say that those who agree with me should take up guns and wait for you at the entrance and kill you, you will consider that free speech, for which I should not be arrested. Right now, as we sit here,
that's an extreme case.
And listen, look.
You said that's extreme.
It's not extreme.
Nobody has said that anyway.
Hold on, Richard. That is not extreme. One of the cases we have dealt with recently is somebody actually going on social media, threatening to kill the president and his wife, and to put their bodies in cocoa sacks. This is not an extreme case. This is something that has happened. One of the cases we are dealing with is a member of your political party sitting on television and actually threatening to burn down the headquarters of the National Democratic Congress. This is not extreme. This is real. Should I go on and mention cases we are being dealt with? One of the cases we are dealing with is a senior member of your party saying that a judge has no brains of his own, and that when any matter is put before him, he rushes to the Jubilee House to take instructions. These are the cases we are dealing with. Which of these cases do you think is okay? That if you behave like this, you should be allowed to go home free.
But
nobody should arrest you.
My advice to you was principle. So you are citing instances, principle. So the minute you engage the conversation, you open a Pandora's box where anybody, because everything you have said now, I can say corresponding things that can be seen as criminal. But in a democracy where you don't want speech and you are defining and kind of pigeonholing things, you can't have a democracy. That's the principal conversation I want you to have.
I'm saying that,
given your history and experience,
listen,
I think it's dangerous. That's my view. It's dangerous to have that conversation.
Well, my history,
trying to define free speech.
My history, as I understand it, is also a history about sanitizing public discourse. You cannot be calling for freedoms irresponsibly. You understand? There ought to be some measure of responsibility when you call for freedoms. And I don't see how anybody can defend somebody who actually makes a public statement that I'm going to kill the president and I'm going to kill his innocent wife. And when I've killed them, I'll put their bodies in cocoa sacks. Why cocoa sacks? Such reckless, irresponsible statements ought to be dealt with. And dealing with such reckless, irresponsible statements cannot be seen as an affront to the freedom of expression or press freedom. You understand? Now, Richard, I agree with you. That in dealing with reckless speech, political colors should not matter. I agree with you on that score. I agree with you that in dealing with reckless speech, it doesn't matter who makes the reckless speech and so on. They must be dealt with. I want to be convinced that in the past, or even in the present, there have been reckless speeches which have been ignored on the basis of the political color of those who made them. And one of the cases which have been cited by people from your party, your communications and so on, strongly, is one in which your presidential candidate, a Muslim, was portrayed as a pork eater. You remember? Yeah. It's been cited almost all the time. Well, I find that repugnant. Painting anybody who is a Muslim as a pork eater is repugnant in the extreme. But how about painting your political opponent, or your opposing political candidate as a drunkard? You remember?
Yeah.
That this whole pork eater thing was a reaction to a deliberate effort to paint John Mahama as a drunkard. Am I lying? If I'm lying, tell me.
Well, that's a fact, actually.
And the person who portrayed John Mahama as a drunkard was not arrested. The person who portrayed Vice President then, candidate Dr. Mahmoud Alhaji Bawumia as a pork eater was not punished. If I'm lying, just tell me.
No, you're right.
You know, in my view, both of them should have been arrested. And indeed, if the person who portrayed President Mahama as a drunkard was arrested, perhaps the second part, where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was portrayed as a pork eater, would not have happened. You understand? So let's be fair. Let's be fair.
No, I would say so. The point for me,
sanity.
Yes.
Sanity.
So for me, I don't agree.
Sanity.
I don't agree, and I will not indulge that, condone it, or support it for anybody to paint His Excellency John Dramani Mahama a drunkard, or Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia a pork eater, and all of that. That's not the politics we're supposed to be doing.
No, that is dirty politics.
But I'm saying that
is very dirty politics.
So whoever did that, I'm coming. Yes. So whoever did that is a member of the MPP or NDC. It's a responsibility of the leadership to bring down a certain value system that corrects those. And I've been on record criticizing insult in our politics and all of that. It doesn't have a place. It takes away from the value and the essence of the conversation we must have. So we should do that. I will not condone that. So if you say that to be a responsibility of the parties to deal with that, but you see, that should not stray to the arena where you kind of constrain people. So those who have legitimate criticisms to advance will be constrained because the fear in the environment says that you don't know what would happen if you speak, you will be arrested. And the manner in which the arrest is orchestrated, it is very intimidating.
Richard, you would only fear if you don't trust that you can speak responsibly.
No,
I mean, you've been speaking the last 2-3 hours. Nobody has come for you.
Right.
Because very critical of government. Nobody is going to arrest you.
Right.
Because you speak responsibly.
But we're not talking about ourselves. We're talking about the vast majority.
Yeah,
and you know, ours is a growing democracy.
Yeah.
There are people who don't understand. And
we may not be able to clamp down on everybody.
Right.
But at least let's clamp down one or two people to serve as a deterrent to others to learn how to speak and speak responsibly.
There's
no kill people and
there's
things.
no day.
That's irresponsible.
Yeah.
We must.
There's no day on which I don't criticize this government.
You do.
Every day. Why? Now.
On some issues, yes.
Oh no, he can't criticize.
No,
he
I
can't criticize on every issue.
So you pick the issues because I can give the issues that you should criticize. This selective justice matter, you should criticize them. Kwesi, you should criticize. But you say you don't see the point. Anyway, that point.
But everybody picks issues. If you don't pick issues and you are just in the public,
this one is a common denominator
against everything, good and bad and so on.
So that's madness.
Then people must question your mental stability.
No. Nobody will question if you say they are doing selective justice.
Just like everybody else, you pick the issues to criticize.
Everybody picks the issues based on your ideological commitments, based on your understanding of society and so on. We all pick the issues. What is wrong with that?
I said that selective justice, that one, ideological or not, is a matter we should.
I've just dealt with that.
But you say you don't know where I'm coming from the selective justice. That one, I think.
I've just dealt with that. I've just dealt with that.
You don't see where I'm coming from.
Yes. How can I see where you're coming from? I've just dealt with that. You understand?
Yes.
So it's clear.
Yeah.
Richard, all of us must understand, and all of us includes your party leadership, must understand that it is not acceptable to be threatening to kill any citizen. Don't talk about the president. Any citizen. It's not acceptable.
No, we agree. There's no problem.
All of us must accept that it is not allowed to take your words and twist your words, deliberately change your words. I mean, manufacture words and put them in your mouth. It's not acceptable. We must accept. We must accept that there are consequences for deliberately misinforming the public. We must accept that. All of us have to accept that. Okay. If it's done against somebody in the NPP, it is wrong. If it is done against somebody in the NDC, it is equally wrong. We must take a principled position.
All right.
That's all.
Okay. All right.
That's not a difficult matter.
But the recourse should not be criminal prosecution of such things. There's a civil angle to go.
If you threaten to kill the president,
no, I'm not talking about that.
Criminally prosecuted.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that. You see, okay. So Uncle, see, the balance we must find is that it borders on our democracy as much as we want to keep order. So if you are not careful in this era, what we have, in fact, in our history, what we have going for us is this Fourth Republic. Okay. And if you're not mindful and delicate with it in trying to find a good balance between ensuring, accountability and then the sustenance of democracy, you might end up jeopardizing both. That's the point I'm making.
Let's bring in our viewers.
No problem.
Yes. So Gideon Ejapon, who is sending us a message from Sefiwi also in the Western North. Sefiwi also, Western North MPP Regional Youth Organizer hopeful. So I like it when people declare where they stand. It makes people appreciate where you're also coming from when you send us these messages. Now it says, more, it is deeply worrying how Uncle Kwesi appears completely unfazed when death threats, malicious attacks and reckless allegations were being made by some prominent NDC members while they were in opposition. Today, we're seeing a sudden wave of selective outreach, and that inconsistency is not just noticeable or questionable. But the man just sat here and is condemned left and right. He says whether it was done yesterday, it was done today, wrong is wrong. So I don't know where you're coming. Anyway, it's still democracy, so freedom of expression, so free speech. So I'll grant you that. If fairness truly matters, then standards of judgment should not shift depending on who is speaking, and consistency is what gives credibility to public commentary, not convenience. Gideon Ejapon, Sefiri, also MPP regional hopeful. Now, Mansa Musa says that the Ken Ofori-Atta saga versus dual citizenship debate. Are you still advocating the persons holding dual citizenship to be allowed to take up sensitive public position? Tell me why you still think people who have dual citizen status be allowed to take up ministerial positions. Mansa Musa, Professor Wikwas, I'll come after you. So be careful. But he continues to say, more, my question is that Ken Ofori-Atta did not run the country's economy alone, single-handedly. He managed Ghana's finances with many others, those with whom he worked with. 1, what was their role? 2, what they knew. 3, what they know. 4, have they been investigated or been investigated? 5, are those former state administrators cooperating with investigating authorities? 5, have investigations proven that Ken Ofori-Atta's deputies and other senior appointed members of the EMT had no part and therefore cannot be called to give any accounts? 7, my last question is, what exactly are we looking for that requires Ken Ofori-Atta's physical availability without which investigations cannot or should not proceed? 8, now if a public figure is incarcerated, why shouldn't we know? 9, whose decision was it to keep Sophia Ekufu's resignation secret? Now, you have, how do you call it? You have preempted my next topic. Anyway, so Moro, we need a lot of transparent information from the current authorities. If economic damage was done or not done, we must know. Thanks and good morning from Mansa Musa of Voice of London Radio. Moro, good morning. Samir Dako and his friends and boss, Kwesi Jabin, just want to be heard and defend their salaries. The statement the OSP issued yesterday was complete bunkum. Kwesi Jabin's very existence as a special prosecutor has come to a jarring halt. He's merely dependent on the Ken Ofori-Atta case for his survival in that role. What ill will and selfish parochial interests become the only basis for a special prosecutor to go after someone? Time and truth will expose him. Ken Ofori-Atta does not have to be physically present to account for his stewardship. If the OSP is not the same person who was investigating a dead man, Sir John, where then does all this cacophony come from? Kwesi is inherently incompetent and clueless. He's just feeding fat on taxpayers' money for nothing. Enough of these monkey tricks. Samuel Brian Wabeng from Accra, Awushi specifically. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm, he says, good morning, my brother. The USA can decide to grant Ken Ofori-Atta a residence permit or not. That has nothing to do with our justice system in Ghana. Ken Ofori-Atta can run, but he cannot hide. The reality will catch up with him. The Office of AG and the Office of OSP must make sure that Ken Ofori-Atta is brought home to face justice. It is clear Ken Ofori-Atta is running away from accountability and he must not be allowed to do so. I'm even sad to see that functionaries of MPP are happy because Ken has been granted a resident permit. Mr. Hanan and the wife, Dr. Mustafa Hamid, Chairman Wuntumi, and other members of MPP are all in Ghana facing the justice system. So Ken alone is avoiding accountability. $98 million of the national cathedral which did not see the light of day in my mind. This one here from Kojo Chumbuafo. Kojo Chumbuafo says, good morning, Moro. I never knew that convicts are now circus animals, that people like Richard Hiamba can buy a ticket to go and objectify. Richard, if you're looking for Sedina, go to the office of Banom and Bailey and buy your ticket. Make sure you buy a ring side ticket. Have some shame. He's
making light of a very serious matter.
Davis Carter from Accra says, good morning, Moro. We should be careful as we downgrade our institutions when we're in opposition. Richard should be careful of his utterance because the MPP will one day come to power. So should I say I don't trust the state institutions when the MPP is in power? Kwabena Sapo of the MPP says Pratt wanted to take a picture of the African Regent Hotel. Ask him why he did not want to do that. I don't recall him saying that he won't take a picture of the African Regent Hotel. I don't recall he said, unless of course it's something you're telling us that you
I did not want to do.
You said you wanted to take, you did not want to take a picture of the African Regent Hotel. I don't know what he means by that.
Oh.
Did you ever attempt to take what has been termed as the
one shot campaign?
Yes.
I actually took the picture. I have the picture in my office.
Oh, during the protest?
Yes, I took the pictures in my office.
Okay. He thought Kwabena Sapon thought you didn't take it, so he wanted to know why you didn't take it.
No, I did. I took the photograph. In fact, with a camera which was handed over to me by Alhaji Bature.
Oh, okay. May you so rest in peace.
Yes, it's printed. It's a big photograph of that hotel, and it's in my office.
All right. Prince Harry from Ofori-Atta says that he's the regional communications officer hopeful of the NDC. The more the NPP keeps defending and shielding Ken Ofori-Atta, the more Ghanaians will be angry with the NPP. The harm Ken Ofori-Atta has caused Ghanaians, of which many had passed through to die, will continue to harm the NPP and Ken Ofori-Atta. The NPP should be ashamed of defending Ken Ofori-Atta because the man has indeed caused pains to Ghanaians. The future is pregnant. Reverend Samuel J. of the PNC says, good morning, Moro, and your panel, Moro. It is important for us to know that everyone has a right to decide where he or she would like to live in this part of the world. But Moro, what is beating my imagination is that Ken Ofori-Atta who believes in Ghana and has served the nation so well, the way that they want us to believe. Why must he at this age seek for another nationality? Maybe my NPP friends can throw a little light on that. You've heard his lawyers say it time and again that Ken Ofori-Atta said he does not trust that he'll be treated fairly. It's as simple as that. This matter, they've repeated this several times.
He's not looking for another nationality. He's looking for a green card.
A green card.
Which grants him permanent residence, not nationality.
Oh, okay. Yes. So Kwabena Sapon says I didn't read his message well. So he says, tell my friend Kwesi Pratt, the same way he wanted to take a shot of the African Regent Hotel. I still don't get the...
Read it.
That's the only thing he said. So, Kwabena Pacho, if you can write a proper sentence, when I say, this one is too scanty.
No, perhaps it needs to be explained to him.
Yes.
Journalists of TV Africa went to take a photograph of the hotel, and they were allegedly arrested and imprisoned in the residence of President Kufuor for a while. Okay. This is the context. So I then decided, in solidarity with the journalists, to also go and take that photograph.
You wanted to be arrested?
To see if you'll be arrested.
And dare the state to react. So that's what I did. It was a solidarity action with journalists of TV Africa who have been arrested for taking a photograph of the hotel.
Oh, okay. So he says Pratt wanted to take a picture of the African Regent Hotel. Ask him why he want to do that? And that's what he's explaining.
I've explained. It was a solidarity action.
It was a solidarity action. Kwabena Pacho, I hope you'll find that. You'll find out. I'll call him Uncle
Africa.
Mr. Kwabena Sapon, big man. Musa Abata from Asawase says, reading Article 90 of the Constitution, which Mr. Kwesi Pratt extensively referenced, it is worth noting that Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyer, Frank Davis, has repeatedly argued that his client was not duly notified. However, in my view, Ken Ofori-Atta is setting a dangerous precedent. If public officials are allowed to rely on similar legal arguments to evade scrutiny, future office holders may exploit the same avenue to run away from accountability. Public service must go hand in hand with responsibility and accountability to the people. My regards to your Forestry Commission. That's from Musa Abata from So. And that's why people are calling for a public policy that says that once you serve in an administration, loses power, you should stay in this country at least for 1 more year. Until you are cleaned, everything is fine, there's no issue, you are kosher before you're allowed to travel.
Violation of their rights.
Yes, that is what some people are advocating, that we must get to that point.
Well, anyway, if they sign up to it, it cannot be a violation.
Yes. Now, Alfred Kojo Tredo says, good morning, Moro, and to your cherished viewers. Permit me to use your medium to wish the Ghana Black Stars all the best of luck with or without Thomas Party. That's Alfred Kojo Tredos, the best replacement for the Deputy National Organizer position of the NDC. That's what he writes and sends. Now, Kojo Chumbuafu is back. He says, look, let this Ken Ofori-Atta advise us on whether we would allow people holding foreign passports to be allowed to serve in certain sensitive positions. At what point do we realize that this is a road to perdition? Imagine an MPP cabinet where the likes of Richard Ahiagba and Ken Ofori-Atta, amongst others, are all ministers of state waiting to abscond with their foreign passports and loot as soon as government charge changes hands. Kwabena Sapon is back. Tell Mr. Kwesi that it is only me and him that are still going to stations as panelists. All those we started with in the Fourth Republic are out now. Oh, you know Kwabena Sapon? Oh, he's an old man. He's probably in his late 60s or early 70s. He's a slim man. He's a very staunch. I think he's a pharmacist or something.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Kwabena, my salute. My salute.
Yes. Now, Samuel Brambwami is back. He says he's not seeking another nationality. He wants to adjust his status so that he can undergo medical treatment without having any issues with ICE.
Absolutely.
That's the whole idea.
But
Kwabena, thanks for that message.
Moro, do you have a minute?
Just a minute. I need to finish with this. Now, Carlos Obodojojo, hey, Carlos, your messages are too long. Abba, please, make it
He has a
shorter.
lot to say.
Yes. Now, he says, I agree with Richard to some extent regarding what he was saying. Richard himself was involved in an alleged electoral malpractice for which many believe he should have been arrested and prosecuted. However, the state handled the matter differently. Therefore, when he speaks on such issues, he's speaking from